was asked by a lovely viewer the other day about making a book out of greeting cards, and I started off by doing this as a bit of an experiment, and I sewed into each card, and it made a bit of a book. Now, it's fab, but there are flaws. So, although it keeps them all together, things like this, which is a layered card, and this one at the front, you wouldn't want to have a card directly on top, because as you can see, it makes it splay out a bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and make a book that has some spacing in between so you can appreciate each card separately. So what I'm going to use is a multi-purpose needle set. I got this from Tesco's, I think. It came with a rounded needle and it came with a tapestry needle, so you need both of those. You need some thread. You could use embroidery floss. It just needs to be strong. The only reason I'm using this is because I happen to have it on me at the time. I got some little seed beads. I thought we'd try these to help us with our spacing. I've coordinated, I'm doing all Christmas cards that I've made in the past, so I'm trying to coordinate with those. So I thought gold would look quite nice with those. You need a pair of scissors. You need a piercing tool. You can get pickup tools in craft shops. You could use a needle. I suggest if you do use a needle, use something to protect your finger, because you're going to be pushing through cards, and after a while it's going to really hurt your finger. So this one actually came with the Memory Keepers bookbinding board, but for this tutorial I don't want to use this, not because I don't like it, because I absolutely love it, but I feel that it would be better to go back to as basic as possible, so the basic equipment as possible. If you had a meat skewer, that might possibly work, although I have a feeling it might be a little bit wide. This tool I got for doing the same sort of thing. It's a little bit wider, but I actually got this in the tool department in the Range, this one. So this is, I think it's called a Bradle. Anyway, ideally you want something a little bit bigger than a standard needle. So as I happen to have this tool on me, I thought this would be a good one to use. I also have a pack of paper. This is paper from previous cards that I've made, and from subscription boxes and things. So I had it left over, so I thought it'd be quite nice to use some of these pages. The reason I wanted to use some of these pages is because I want the whole book to finish in a sort of uniform size. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay out my cards and work out my maximum size. Okay, so it looks like A6 is my general size. I think I might actually keep it at A6. Oh, hang on a minute. I've got a wider one here. Maybe I won't put that one in today. I've got a couple of smaller ones, and I've got, yeah, I think I'll go with A6. So, oh, I also have a guillotine. La la. But you can use scissors, it's not a problem. So let's start and have a go. I'm going to start off with some nice double-sided paper. Let's do the red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half. Now, it is very nearly A6 size, so that's a little bit disappointing, but it isn't insurmountable actually, because there are other things we can do, so that's not a problem. I think what I will do is I'll just start off with a couple of these. So, sorry, I'm trying to sweep it elegantly, it doesn't work. I'm going to cut it to A5 size, like so, like that. And what I'm going to do, I think, is put things like these cards in the middle, like that. And I might actually put some plain ones with plain white writing in as well, so that you can write notes about your Christmas or whatever. I can do that. Now let's choose another piece. Let's choose this nice patterned one, and this time I'm going to do it to the same width as this. So using this as a template, I am going to make sure it's the same width, like that. So I now know that that will make a good front cover. And there is this little bit in here, but that doesn't matter because I've got a cunning plan. Right, the next thing to do is just using the cutter. I'm not going to cut, but I am going to measure. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to fold. So there we go. I'm going to fold that up like that. And then it's going to make a pocket, is my idea. And I have a little bit of double-sided tape. Sorry, didn't include that at the beginning of it. But if you pop that there, peel it off. You can do the same on the other side. There we go. Okay, so this one is going to be my inside cover, and I think I'm going to make a similar one for the back cover. And I've left the white bits in because I decided that I'd quite like some areas where you can make notes or say what's inside. So let's choose another one. Oh, this is a nice one. This will make a nice back cover. I'm going to do the same again. So I'm going to use this one as my template this time. Now this time I want it to be the opposite way round because it's going to be on the back. Okay, so I made my little fold line. There we go, bit of tape. Get a right mess of the tape. There we go. And fold it in half. Well, not in half, but to our fold line. And there we go. We've got a front and a back cover. If you're doing this for a birthday, you might use balloon paper. If you're doing it for a wedding, you might use a pretty weddingy paper. Or you could even use gift wrap and put it onto card to make it thicker. This particular card is 200 GSM. I wouldn't use anything thinner really for a cover. The sort of thicker the better really, but at least with this you can pierce it with a needle. If it's too thick, you're going to really struggle. Right, okay, so I've got my cover, and then I'm just going to pop some cards in. So making sure they're all the right way up. I'm going to put that special one in and that one. Okay, so that is my general book. As you can see, if I did it really tight down that edge, it's going to flare out. And what I want it to do is sit a bit, so it's like a proper book. So I think every card that has an embedded, maybe every other card. I don't know. I might try with every. I mean, I might try with every card. I'm not sure if that's going to help, but we'll give it a go and see. Okie dokie. So my next job is to take a piece of card. This is just a pin badge backing. I haven't taken the pin badge off yet, but it absolutely makes no difference at all what it is that you use. You just need to make sure that whatever it is, it's going to be used on exactly the same pieces all the way through. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to line it up on the edge there. Oh, need a pencil, one sec. and I'm going to do a little dot. And do the same on the other side. And do a little dot. And then what I'm going to do, because ideally I think we want to make a decent book, you want to have at least 4 holes. So what I'm going to do is line it up with the one that I've just done and do a hole there, and then that one. A bit like that activity you do with compasses. Can you see? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 holes, and then I'm going to use my piercer, being careful not to go into your fingers. If you've got blue tack, you could go into blue tack. I'm just making sure my fingers are either side. Careful through the double layers. There you go, so you have pierced your first one. What we're going to do now is I'm going to pierce all the rest of them, and I'll speed you up while I'm doing it. Right, so I decided I would go for a bit of embroidery yarn actually. So this is actually quite cheap stuff that I got off of Amazon. So I'm hoping it's not going to break on me, but it's a good test. I've got my looped my curved needle and my straight needle. I've got some beads. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is thread up my needle. Oh, that's the trouble with doing 6-stranded, it doesn't want to thread. Okay, I'm going to take the bottom one first, I think, and I'm going to thread through the first at the bottom, first hole at the bottom. I've done the thread quite long. If we run out, it doesn't matter because we can do something about that. Okay, and I'm going to put my finger on that end thread and I'm going to go out and in, then out and in. And then I'm just going to go back to the beginning. And what we're doing now is we are creating a base. There we go. Back in. Now then, keeping your finger holding on to this bit here, we're going to turn it around and we're going to push it under the thread and through the loop. Okay, the trouble with using embroidery yarn is it does twist, so making sure that's nice and tight. Just going to do it again because we don't want the start to unravel on us. So again, holding onto the end, and then we're going to, there we go. So that's nice and tight now. Okay, right, so let's get moving then. So I think what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to thread a gold bead on. I'm not, because it's not going to fit on this needle. One sec, I'm going to change, hopefully it'll fit on this one. No. Let's go for a thinner needle. I was thinking that if I used the other thread, I wouldn't need a needle, but I am obviously going to. Oh, I think that's going to be a hope in hell trying to get that in there. Okay, hang on. It's particularly twisty thread this, which is a bit of a pain. So let's see how we go. Is it going to play ball? I'm not convinced it's going to actually. Might need to go find another needle. Are we in? Oh, we're in. Okay. So I'm going to put that there, back on the needle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the next page. There we go. This one's got a bit of an embellishment on. So on the next one I'm definitely going to use a bead. And what you're going to do is you're going to go in through the next hole in the card. Like that. And can you see that bead will help give us a little bit of space. So I'm going to go out through the next hole. I am going to fail spectacularly to put another bead on. I should have chosen bigger beads. Don't really want to have to keep threading and unthreading, so I don't think I'm going to do this on all of them. Oh, that's the wrong needle. Oh, see, what a total muppet I am. I forgot to take the needle off. Excuse me for my dimness today. There we go. I thought it went on a bit easily. That'll be sod's law for you. Oh, come on, in you go. There we go. Needle back on. And pull the bead down. Now what we're going to do here, find my needle, is holding the pages together, or the cards together, we are going to go through the thread here, like so, and then back through this thread here. We're going to go through the loop, and we're going to do that just through one side again and tie a knot like that. Okay, ideally we want to go back through that bead, okay, but there is absolutely no way I'm going to be able to sew back through that bead, so I'm just going to go past it. I'm going to go out through the next hole, I'm going to unthread it, try and get another bead on. Hooray! No, the needle's not going to do it as easily as that then. There we go. Get my bead. Where is my bead? Oh, still up there. Put the bead on, and then again we are going to go through the right hand side. Like that, and then through the left hand side. So we've looped into the card below. Oh, and I forgot to do a knot, so hang on, let me just pull that out a bit. Okay, and then I'm going to pull through that loop even. Make it nice and tight. And I think I'll do another knot just to make sure. And then I'm going to go back through this card, this hole even. It's quite hard to remember what you're talking about when you're doing something, you know. Right, let's go through this one. Okay, so we need another bead again. Hopefully it will go on. Oh, I'm here. That's a very persistent thread that doesn't want to do it. There we go. Needle on again. You could plausibly put holes from a hole punch in, as long as they were all in the same place, so all the holes lined up, it really wouldn't necessarily matter. So because we've got nothing on the left this time, what we're going to do is just going to go through the right, then go through the loop, like so, and then I'm just going to do another knot just to be sure. I'm hoping you can see. There we go. And then we are going to go back through like so. Now then, we need to add the next layer. So what we're going to do is going to take our needle again, and you're going to put it underneath, and you're going to put it through the loop like so. So we're going to make a knot on this side. Then we are going to go back through, get the next card, and go through like that. Now I'm not going to put beads on this one, despite saying that I was going to. I'm just going to show you how to do it. So this time, on the inside, we're going to go out like so. Oh. Now we haven't got these this time, so what we're going to do is we're going to go under the last one. So that's under the bead and the thread. This is where you need the curved needle ideally. I put the curved needle in because it'll be easier to show you. Ooh. My poor curved needle's got bent. I mean, I know it's bent anyway, but it's got really bent. So we're going to go under like so. It does actually help if you have waxed thread and about 3 pairs of hands. Now we're going to go through the loop like so, and then we're going to tie it nice and tight, and then we're going to go back through the hole we've just done like so. Then we're going to move to the next one. Going to go under the last, onto the thread, through a knot. I think I'm going to do an extra knot just to be on the safe side there actually. Like that. Back through the hole. Oh. Sorry, my end's got caught. There we go. And then up the last one. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to go through all the rest, and then I will show you how to tie off at the end. Just bear in mind, before I put this on speed, I'm showing you how to do cards that are the same height at the minute. We're going to put smaller cards in there too, but right at the minute we are just doing cards that are the same height. Now, if you're doing wedding cards, what I suggest, or other Christmas cards, ones with lots and lots of sizes, I suggest you work on your biggest card size, and you always work from either the bottom or the top, like we've just done. What you can do is, using a ruler, just measure, say every, so that's about 1 inch, it's just over 1 inch, but say if you measured sort of every 1.5 inches up, starting at the bottom, it's as long as they are all the same. If you wanted to just use 2, what I suggest you do is line it up in the center, which is what I did here. So you can see some are wider, narrower, but they were all bound in the center. And these were all done with just 1 stitch. It sort of depends entirely on what you want. So I'm going to put you on fast forward now and hopefully zoom through the rest. No. Okay, so what I've done is I've threaded them all on. I'm just going to thread through the very last hole again, if I can. Curled needles are surprisingly difficult to handle. And then just on the inside, I've done my knot on the outside, but I am just going to make sure that I have a proper secure knot on the inside. Oh. And then I think what I will do is I'll go back out and then trim it off. So I decided, because my needle wasn't thin enough, the beads were just too much trouble. I have to say I quite like this. So in here I have some pockets that are big enough to pop some cards in, and I've got one at the back as well. And then there's places for me to write little notes if I want to. So, oh, and I could put a sticker on the front. Sorry, reindeer. There we go. Let's find a nice pen. Okay. So I've put Christmas card samples because that's what they were. You just put whatever event, don't forget to date it. And then I could write notes about all the different techniques that I used. So this was using stickers. I used to be a Stampin' Up demonstrator, and this was using their stickers. So I could write notes on there. This is using their stamps, and trying to do it, I used post-it notes to separate areas, and I was trying to demonstrate how to do it with the least amount of materials, because I believe that crafting should not cost you a fortune. This one, I had a bauble punch and punched that out, but this is all one stamp around the outside and then there. Using the same stamp again, but this time on the outside I just wiped the ink pad around, and these are stickers that I pretended were baubles. Again, pretended it was a bauble. This is not a sample that I have done, but this is a Christmas card that my daughter made, and we got printed up at school. And another one I just stamped on little discs that I used, and this is the coordinating Christmas colours that they had in that year that I did it. And then this is the final page at the back, so I can write even more notes in there. If you wanted to, you could do a full cover that went over the top, but I'm pretty pleased with that. You could also have some elastic to put around it if you want to, so it would keep it a bit flatter. There are lots, and on the elastic you could hang charms. If you had, so it's a wedding and you had your garter, you could put your garter around to protect everything. That might be quite fun. Or ribbons from the bouquet. The other thing that's quite nice about these sorts of pockets is that you could flower press some of your flowers and stick them in. You could have examples of your stationery that went out put in as well. So there's lots of possibilities. So I've shown you how to make your own little card pocket using festive or coordinating papers, and then how to make the holes in the tops of your cards, how to thread them. It isn't proper bookbinding threading. It's about as similar as I can make it, but these cards are quite old, and they're actually done on quite thin card because they were samples, so they'll pull through quite easily if you're not careful. Another thing that'd be quite nice is to have ribbon. You could just thread ribbon through and tie it off, so you have lots and lots of little ribbons coming through. That would be quite nice too. So that is my basic card book. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching.